So this video is going to be all about the differences that we've noticed between London and even Scotland and the United States, between like things that we notice in the hotel, maybe the people, the stores, just the way that they do things in general. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, but I figured I would show you what I could show you. We've really enjoyed staying at this Premier Inn. This is in London, and it has been wonderful, but there are some differences. For example, they have a kettle, a water kettle, instead of a coffee pot.
And teas instead of
yeah, you have tea. You do have a coffee, but it's in these packets. It's instant coffee. You just add water, and so that's how they do that. The garbage cans are very, very small, and this one has a hole in it, so that's not a good start to that bag. The towels have a alarm, security. Yes, just like when you go to Walmart and there's like a little security thing in your electronics. There is a security sewn right here. It is sewn into your towel, so you cannot steal that. I mean, you wouldn't want to anyway. Why would you want to?
They're really thin.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're thin. I just wouldn't want them.
And this is just for Premier. That's not saying all of them are here, but it's just hotel.
You have to point to my face. Kevin's like pointing at the floor.
This is just for the Premier.
Right.
The other places may be different.
Right. Other places may be completely different. There's no, like in the United States, in most rooms you get a refrigerator, like a mini fridge, a mini bar. Because like Silke stayed in London, and Silke's room I do think had a
refrigerator.
It had a refrigerator.
But it wasn't plugged in.
But it wasn't plugged in. Yeah, she said it was hot. She said there was heat coming out of the refrigerator. So she did have a fridge. It didn't work, but she had one. We don't have one here at all. In the restroom, the toilet paper, we're going to have to tell them downstairs when we go. They did not give us some more toilet paper, but the toilet paper comes out like this.
Like a Kleenex.
It comes out like a Kleenex, literally, like a Kleenex. And there's not much in here, so I'll have to tell them. They must have not checked that. Also, the soap. The soap is on the wall here. And in the shower, instead of giving you mini bars of, or mini bottles of shampoo and conditioner and soap, it's all on the wall. And lastly, the garbage can. This garbage can, I have fought with this garbage can every day because it is so tiny that when you push it, it wants to fall over.
It would have been better if it just been an open garbage can.
Yeah, an open garbage can would have been better, honestly. So, those are the things that I've noticed in the room here.
There's no ice bucket or ice machines.
There's no ice bucket, no ice machine. If we notice any differences in our room in Scotland, then I'll probably put that in this video as well. I don't know that we will. We're going to be staying in like 7 different places when we go to Scotland, so we'll just have to see how things are there. I might not have time to give updates at every place.
Washcloths.
They don't have washcloths. Thank you. They do not have washcloths here. They said that it was a matter of hygiene, but I'm thinking if they're washing these towels, aren't they? They're washing. They would use, they would wash a washcloth. But like Jennifer, our friend Jennifer that lives over here, she told us that she did not own a washcloth. She said, I don't own one washcloth. And I said, how do you take your eye makeup off then? And she said it comes off when she washes her face with soap and water. But I don't use soap and water, and I don't use the towelettes to take my eye makeup off like Ashley does. I actually use a washcloth, so that's different for me. So anyway, oh, and one more thing, they don't have sheets
on the bed.
On the bed. This is a duvet, and this is the cover. I mean, this is it. This is what you get. You have your mattress, your fitted sheet, and then you have this duvet. Kevin and I have loved this. We really, really, really like this.
It's really
nice. We think it's nice. We like not having a sheet. So for us, that hasn't been a problem at all. So anyway, that is it for now. So this is going to be a long video. You just saw right before this some differences in the hotel room at the Premier Inn and maybe what we're used to in the United States. I told you about some of those things. But this video is also going to include other things, like it's going to be a long video. So just settle in.
Yeah, things you might think about when you're planning a trip to London.
Yes. I'm going to give you the price, the total price that we paid. I'm going to give you all of those things, and then if there are a lot of questions at the like in the comments, then we'll do another video because we'll answer anything we think that you might have a question about, and we are more than willing to answer anything
if we know the answer.
But some other differences that we noticed were that there are just in the United Kingdom in general, you see very few motorized carts. Like here,
little, handicap carts or whatever.
Like here, when you go into Walmart, when you can be walking around the block and you might see somebody on a motorized cart crossing the street. Anytime you're in Walmart, you don't see any fewer than 2 normally during your time there.
Well, the stores have them up front where you can get in them and drive them around.
Right, and we did not notice that.
I didn't notice them.
No, not at all. And you do not see people using those over there.
So I have a cough.
I think we were gone for 2 weeks. And I think I saw 2 carts our entire trip. Yeah. And one of them was a tourist. So, we didn't see a lot. And maybe that's because we were in busy cities. Maybe you see them more out in the country, but we didn't see them in the middle of the city.
Or we just didn't go in places that had them. I don't have a problem with them. I'm not saying they're bad or shame on you for using them.
No judgment at all.
It's just weird that they don't have them over there.
Yeah, it was just something that you don't see, and so it was different for us.
Yeah, if you need them for mobility, all for you.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I didn't want to I'm glad you said that, because I would never want anybody to think I'm being judgmental. There is a bag charge, which actually I kind of like. I really do. Now that sounds awful.
What?
The bag charge.
Oh, when you buy something at the store.
When you buy something at the store, like right now in Walmart, if we go to Walmart, they bag everything up for us and we bring it home.
1 item per bag sometimes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So if it takes 40 bags, then we've just taken 40 bags from Walmart. Over there, it's not like that. They charge from anywhere from 5 to 10p per bag.
That's like pennies.
Which I actually liked, believe it or not.
They only started that like a year ago.
But it forces you to take your own bags along, and it forces you to think about it, that you don't need all of these plastic bags, and it's wasteful, and it just forces you to be more responsible, I think, about the environment.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons they did that, was that just London, or was that everywhere?
I'm not sure.
Know. Maybe somebody from over there can
because
tell us.
We took a bag wherever we went.
Yeah. Somebody that lives over there, maybe you can comment. But
we bought bags, and then we bought a couple of bags at Waitrose, which were like the best bags ever.
Were really nice.
Just the regular plastic bags from Waitrose.
They had a handle.
They had a handle. They were awesome. We folded those up, put them in Kevin put them in his pocket. We used them all over the United Kingdom.
But I think they had such an issue with people just throwing them away and not recycling them and not reusing bags. I think they had a huge issue. They're trying to save the environment a little bit and less recycling stuff, so they started doing that.
Right.
Which I don't necessarily have a problem with it.
Something that I'm going to jump all around.
Oh yeah, we'll be all over the place.
So these are just things I jotted down in my book. When you're when there's a stoplight and you have cars that are lined up at a red light, motorbikes will go around them, like
and bicycles.
Like, you would think that it would be safe maybe for you to cut across traffic to cross the street.
No,
and it's not at all.
No cutting through traffic behind cars.
Don't ever cross like that, because you will get hit. You will get
always
killed.
being a crosswalk.
Yes, because those motorbikes go once they get to a red light. Those motorbikes go to the front of the line, and
you have 2 rows of cars and buses and everything, and they'll just zip right between them
Yes.
on both sides of them and edge in the front of them, and they're not supposed to do it.
Jennifer told us that they are not supposed to do that.
The
but
cab driver, the taxi person on the way to airport told us that too.
and they do it anyway, and it's so
It is
dangerous.
So
You
don't
would
basically
never-
don't walk through cars.
But the difference is you would never in the United States see that, at least not here. Now they might do that in New York, I don't know, but they do not do that around here. You do not, when there's a red light, those motorbikes get behind the car just like they're supposed to. There's no going to the front of the line.
And you mentioned the next one I was going to mention. It's funny how from here you go from green to yellow, and then
Right.
it turns red.
Right.
Well, there's when it's going from red to green, ours just goes from red to green immediately. Theirs goes from red to yellow to green.
Right.
So it gives you a little warning. It gives you a few seconds of, okay, I'm about to turn green. What usually happens is you start moving when it turns yellow, but it's not that. But you don't see people gunning it. Well, it's really you see a lot of buses kind of start gearing up
Right.
and start moving a little bit.
I like
But
it that it does
neat.
that though. I think it's nice that it doesn't just go like it does here. All of a sudden it's green here, and there it gives
Take
you
off.
some warning.
Yeah.
Also, the cars will shut off.
Yeah, they're very fuel efficient, like hybrid cars. Well, not hybrids, but they turn off. So if you're at a red light, if you sit there longer than a few seconds, 5 or 10 seconds or something like that,
The car will go off.
the whole car shuts off.
And it's like, oh my gosh, did we just die?
Yeah.
What just happened?
And then you take your foot off the brake, and then it starts back up, and you give it gas, and it
It's
goes.
really freaky if
strange.
you're not used to it, because for me, I've had cars like that, but they were it put me in panic mode because they were dying. That means there's something wrong. So that was pretty
That's
scary.
pretty weird.
Yeah, I did not like that, but I would get used to it. You bag your own groceries. Even we went in full-size grocery stores, and you had to bag your own groceries.
Yeah. If you were elderly, I think that you could ask them, and they would help you. But yeah, for the most part, you did your own.
I did not notice a lot of sugar packets or powdered creamer there.
No.
You got, everywhere we went, they had like sugar cubes, but there was not a lot of like sugar packets. Had I known that,
Like
I would.
sweetener.
Yeah, like Splenda.
Yeah.
I would have taken some from home, brought some from home if I had known that was going to be an issue, because you have coffee or tea everywhere you go. So I would have rather had sugar packets than had cubes, because to me the cubes don't do anything. The difference, another difference is the cars actually stop for people in crosswalks. Over here, it doesn't matter if you're standing in a crosswalk or not. They're supposed to stop. Like technically it tells you when you're getting your license, you're supposed to stop for the people in crosswalks. They don't do that here. If I'm in the middle of a street and there's a crosswalk, and if there's not a red light anywhere around, those cars are going to keep going past. They do not like to stop at all for a person in a crosswalk. Over there, when in London, when they saw somebody standing in a crosswalk, they would stop. I mean, traffic could be bumper to bumper, and you would think they would want to just keep going. They don't. They stop for you, and it just always surprised me. It's like, oh, you're going to let me go. And it's like they follow that rule really well, so I like that. We noticed that it was stayed out light outside a lot longer than it does here. But that could have been because of the time of year.
Yeah, it was into May, so.
And it also, it was bright early. It just did not stay dark very long.
Yeah, we wrote down the times. It got dark at 10, and it got light at 4.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, it was light outside.
Yeah, it was weird. It was strange because even here during the summer, it wasn't hours like that, you know?
Right.
I mean, it was very strange. It's like, where are we at?
There wasn't a lot of darkness. Yeah.
It was weird.
What else did I write down? I wrote down something else. Oh, the time
Did you cover
change.
that?
Yeah, I covered
Okay.
that. The time change did not bother us at all, or it didn't. I don't think it.
No, how we did it was we flew in, and did you mention that one? We flew in at night. It was in the middle of the night when we left here, Eastern time. It was very late at night by the time we started flying overseas. So it was really, by the time we got to London, we dozed on the plane. I mean, I kind of like dozed off here and there. Didn't sleep, but I dozed.
Barely dozed.
I bet you the total time we both slept was probably 30 minutes tops.
Oh, not even that for me. I'm talking 10 minutes.
Yeah,
if that.
so
I'm not a person who can go to sleep.
So we were pretty much up the whole time. And then when we got there, it was 10 o'clock in the morning when we got there. We pretty much just went ahead and did whatever we were going to do that day. And then we went to bed that night. So basically we were worn out. And we just kind of reset our clocks in our head because we'd been up a day and a half.
Right.
And then we went to bed. So it wasn't too bad.
No, not at all. They give out free newspapers, which shocked me because they're like, to me, they weren't like big name newspapers. They weren't like the Daily Mail or anything, but they were still newspapers that gave you all kinds of information. And I mean, they were thick newspapers that gave real legitimate news in them, and they were just like begging you to take them.
Yeah.
And
outside of tube stations especially.
yeah, we would come out of Waterloo, and it was, or go into Waterloo, and they're just like practically begging you to take these off their hands, these newspapers. And that was just surprising. Another surprising thing, once we got into Scotland, was that Scotland looks like Kentucky. And that was a huge surprise to me, because I guess we're just used to it. I guess I personally take it for granted that not everybody sees what we see every single day.
We take it for granted that we've got green grass, rolling hills, trees.
I mean, that's
green,
just, to me, the way it is. That's, you know, that's just the way it is. So I'm
horses, cows.
there were a lot of people in our group that were like oohing and ahhing over the horses, and it's like, you know, horses are no big deal for us, but I'm sure we were oohing and ahhing over things that they were thinking, silly Americans, you know, stuff like that. So we just take it for granted that, but it does, just know if you're in Scotland, that's what Kentucky looks like. It's truly, truly amazing how much it was the same. Okay, now I think we've talked about the differences. Now I would like to talk about the prices.
Okay.
We want, Kevin gave you, at the end of the Premier Inn video, he gave you the price for that. He gave you the price for both Premier Inns, because we stayed in one for 8 days, 7 nights. And then we stayed in then we went to Scotland on the coach tour. We took a coach tour, and then we came back into London and spent one more night at a different Waterloo, one across the street. So we had to pay a different price for that one night,
because they didn't have any room for that night at the first one.
Right. But we want to give you prices for everything, just because I know when someone takes a trip, I want to know how much they spend. And that's not just me being nosy. That is me genuinely wanting to know about how much did it cost you and your family to go, so that I know if I can ever afford it, you know? And so to me, it's not a matter of me wanting to be in your finances or anything like that. It's just truly, is this something I can ever shoot for? Right. That kind of thing.
And just keep in mind, we intentionally and purposefully saved for a year for this trip.
Yes.
I mean, we did that without some things, and we literally put money aside every month for this
saved trip. Do you want to know how much we saved?
I can say my goal, I always said, and I was pretty daggone close.
You were very close.
I said that I wanted to have $10,000 in the bank before we even thought about going on this trip.
Yes, he did.
And how much did it cost?
It cost, the total for every single thing was $9,960.76.
Pretty dang close.
So he was pretty close.
But we spent 16 full days in London and Scotland, and you know, that's a lot of time.
Right.
It really is. Most people don't get away for 16 days.
No.
We were blessed. We were blessed to be able to get away and do that long vacation.
Right. Most people only go for like a week, if a week.
Yeah. And we calculated it out too after we did all this. I'll just tell you, we kind of calculated out if we just went to London for a week, it'd be right around $5,000.
It'd be about $5,000, because there's things on this list that we did as people going to London for the first time that we wouldn't do
Right.
again.
And we'll
we'll
mention
talk
those,
about that. Yeah. Do you want to give prices?
I can't.
I want to go like straight down the list and.
Well,
just,
we can both. We can take our time. The Premier Inn, I already said this in the video, but if you didn't watch it all the way to the end,
you might not have watched the video.
The Premier Inn Waterloo, which is really me personally, we stayed there for 7 nights. That was my favorite place to stay.
My favorite place too.
We did not buy the breakfast option, and I'll tell you why when we talk about it. And we did the non-flex, which means basically once I booked it, I couldn't change it at all. I was stuck with that price. We paid, and this is all US dollars too, $1,499.96. And we were there from May 17th to May 25th of 2016.
Right.
The reason I didn't do breakfast is we were looking at the cost. The cost was £16.
It was going to be high. It was expensive.
It was either £8 each or it was like £16 each. I think maybe it was £8 each. But we we're not big breakfast eaters anyway, so we would just grab a bar, Mr. Kipling's cake or something like that, and just grab a couple of those and go. And we didn't eat breakfast, so that would have been a wasted on us. But if you eat breakfast, there are tons of little cafes and coffee shops around there, of anywhere honestly, but there are all kinds of them that'll probably be a little cheaper than £8 anyway.
Yeah, I think it would be cheaper to go to a cafe than to.
And you get a good coffee
I mean, if you want a full English breakfast every single day, then that's fine, and it's very convenient. Right. It's right.
And you
downstairs.
could pay per time too. If you only wanted it like once, you could just go down there and buy breakfast too.
Right. We just chose the cheap route.
Yeah, and we're not big breakfast eaters, so it would have been good for us.
Right.
The Delta, we took our flight over. We did 2 adults. It was Delta, and then Virgin Atlantic did the overseas flight.
And you also did. You didn't do nice. You did nicer seats.
Yeah, I did what they're called Delta Comfort, I believe is what it's called. It's well worth it, I think.
Do it again.
I heard somebody say, I don't think it's worth an extra. I think it's $200. I don't think it's worth an extra $200 to get 4 inches of leg room. When you're on a plane for 8 hours, those 4 inches make a lot of difference. Because we could see other people. We could see other people that their knees were literally that close to it, and the people behind us. The only time I was annoyed a little bit was when the people behind, they were really in front of you, not me. They leaned way back in their seat, and that tray is like guts.
I don't know why people have to lean back. I would never do that, and I know you can do that. I know people would say, well, you have the ability to do that. You should take advantage of it. I'm not that kind of a person because I personally find it rude. I think it's rude. If you do it, I'm sorry if that offends you. But to me, you're invading my space. When you lean your seat back, that's invading my space. Because even like the TV, you lean back and I'm having to readjust everything on my side of the seat because you've leaned your chair back. Yeah, I had that TV adjusted perfect and I was all set up and here she came. And
then you have to tilt the screen up and everything.
It's just rude. It is.
But
I just don't appreciate it.
I don't feel as strongly as she does about it because I know if you're going to go to sleep, you want to lay down. So I don't have a problem with it like that. If you're going to go to sleep, go to sleep.
You're nicer than me.
I guess so. I just deal with it. But they were, the extra room was better. You get to board before some people.
Yes.
You don't get to board when the first class and the highfalutin people do, but you do get to board before the common people. For the economy class does. You get to board before them. So you do get to board a little bit earlier. You don't have to stand there as long. And our luggage went right up above our seats. There's plenty of room. Good TV options, all that stuff.
And that's why I spent so much time, and I know and I'm sure it killed some people because we spent a lot of time in that first video showing you all the movies you get. The only reason I did that, and I'm sure a lot of you fast forwarded through that, is because I wonder personally, what in the world am I going to do in the plane for 8 or 9 hours? Right. What am I supposed to do? You can listen to music. There's a game. What do you call that?
The games are kind of sucky, but
what do you call that thing?
A little controller.
Yeah, there's a controller where you can bring your own thing and hook it up
You could.
to YouTube.
I don't know. I can't imagine doing that, but you could bring your own game system.
But there's all kinds of movies and stuff like that, and that's why I spent so much time on the movies, is because I wanted to show you this is what's available, and I personally thought it was cool.
Yeah. And they're fairly new movies too. So we spent $2,085.66 each for a round trip, and that was with the Delta Comfort. That was flying out of our closest airport too.
Yes.
So if we'd done another larger airport, it may have been a little cheaper, but then we would have had to have driven another hour and a half.
It's not worth it.
It's just not worth it to us. It's worth paying the extra $70 or whatever. It's not much to do it. And like I said, the Delta Comfort, I don't know for sure what it was because I just did it because I knew we were going to do it. I'm thinking it was like $150 to $200 per person round trip. So
I still think it was worth it because the seats were big. We had plenty of space.
Yeah,
plenty of leg room. Okay, the next thing is the Oyster card. Kevin got on Transport for London. It's tfl.gov.uk because I've already had people ask me about it. That's where we went to order our Oyster card. We ordered it before we left the house. We went ahead and put money on it. Yeah. And it was actually mailed to our house with that money on it. I had an Oyster card, Kevin had an Oyster card, and it's a visitor card, and it says Oyster card visitor, and I've kept mine. I'll always keep it because it's just a cool card.
I'll tell you the difference between them.
Go ahead.
No,
when you go to the website, what did you say? You go to.
If you scroll on down, it's got a link kind of as of this video. It had a link on kind of the right hand side that said visiting London. If you click there, it kind of leads you through how to get it and stuff like that.
We did end up putting more money on the Oyster card, but that is included. The price we paid, the price total for the whole time we were gone was $115.23. But keep in mind that we only used it for what, the first, when did we cash it out? On day 8?
Yeah.
Before we went to Scotland.
Yeah.
Because they have a machine that you go to, and if there's any money left on it,
up to 10 pounds,
then you can go to this machine and you can get up to 10 pounds back on each card.
Right.
And so we knew that the whole time we were in Scotland, you're not going to be using it. And then we knew when we were going to be coming back for that one additional day, we knew we wouldn't be using it then. So the total we spent for basically 7 nights was $115.23.
That was with that additional added on.
Yes, that was everything.
So when you go to their website, you can when you order your travel card, your visitor's card, there's like a £3 fee, just a processing fee per card. You pay for that no matter what. And then the card itself is technically free. And then you preload it with so many pounds on there. I think, and I can't swear to it because I don't know for sure, but I think I did 30 pounds on each card.
I think you did.
That sounds right. Because that would have been 30, that would have been about 45 of our dollars.
Yeah, that's true.
Which would have been right at about $90. Then you add the other.
Then we added a little bit more.
So I'm thinking we started with 30 pounds. That lasted us pretty much like 5 or 6 out of the 8 days.
Yeah, like 6 days, and then we had to add on just a little bit more. To get us through one additional day.
Right. And if we'd known, I'll mention this right now, Hampton Court is one where you take a train, not a tube train, but you take an overland train from Waterloo Station to Hampton Court. I didn't know it at the time until we are actually getting on the train. You can actually use your Oyster card to pay, and it'll only subtract. What's really cool about the Oyster card is you scan it to go in, you do whatever you're riding on, and when you leave, you scan it again. The Oyster system automatically deducts from your card exactly what it costs for your trip. So if they know that you scanned in this station and you're getting off at this station, they know that you were, and they know the times, they can take off exactly how much you need, not you prepaying a $10 ticket and it really only would have been $7, that kind of thing. The Hampton Court one would have taken off just what we needed to ride the train instead of taking off just a flat rate.
So this is I went and got my Oyster card. This is the Oyster card, and it says Oyster visitor card. And it's really cute. I love it.
We got the visitor card. You can just order the Oyster card online as well. And that can be refilled as many times as you want to. And I think they're yellow and black, are they? Something like, I don't remember what I think they're yellow and black. I could be wrong. But those cards are just what everybody else in London uses, and you can refill those as many times as you want to. And supposedly they never deactivate. So if you had 5 or 6 pounds left on them and you plan on going back, you could just keep it and go back, and you still got the same amount of pounds you always had.
Right.
So if that's an option, you're going to travel there regularly or all the time, just get a regular Oyster card.
The London Pass. We bought a London Pass.
And that's not the card. That's just the little guidebook.
This is the guidebook. You get this we ordered it. We got it in the mail. We each got a London Pass. We each got one of these books. It was for 3 days for both of us. It was $267.13. Now, the London Pass gets you into, there is a book full of things to do. And I would equate the London Pass to, your kids are in soccer and stuff, and they sell you these coupon books for your town, and you might pay $20 for the coupon book, and you might pick out 2 restaurants out of that whole book and then throw the rest away. They might never get used.
Or if you're really smart, you take advantage of every coupon and get $200 worth of savings if you use them all.
Right.
That's the London Pass.
Right.
It's only as good as the amount you use it.
Right. So we spent $267.13 on it, but we figured up how much we actually used it, and we ended up paying $90.13 more to get the London Pass than we would have if we had just paid out of our own pocket for things, because we did not go to a lot of the things in here. We only did 5 things out of this entire book.
But not everything in that book is covered by the London Pass, but a lot of it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But we only did 5 things that you could do from the London Pass. Yeah. And just because a lot of things that they do offer, we just weren't interested in them, frankly. What's that scary thing?
Tower of London, or the London Dungeon.
Yeah, the London Dungeon. A lot of people are interested in that.
And it was right next to our hotel.
Yeah, I think Silke did that.
Yeah, they did it.
Was the aquarium in that too?
I don't know if you got the aquarium for free or not. If you did, that would.
But a lot of things were in that, like the London Dungeon, and that's kind of like a haunted house type thing. Anyway, we just weren't interested in that. So there's a lot that they offer in that. But would you get that again?
Let me mention one more thing before I say that. We also bought a big bus tour. It was a 48-hour big bus tour, which is a double-decker tour bus. It drives around the city. We paid $94.83 for that for basically 2 days. You also get with that a water cruise. We did not do it, the water cruise tour, but the London Pass also came with the water tour, and we didn't use either one of them for the water.
We ran out of time.
We ran out of time both the day that we could have done it. We just ran out of time.
Yeah.
The reason I say that the London Pass and the big bus tours kind of go together, the London Pass, if you buy the 3-day tour, you also get 1 day of the tour, the bus tours for free. So as part of the London Pass. So if I were to do it all over again, first time going to London, I would do the 3-day London Pass, as long as you do some stuff those days, and take advantage of riding the bus at least once or twice. One time around the city, because you really do get a unique view of the city from the top of the bus. You can videotape a lot. Have you the video went up?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But there's a bus tour video. I think it's in 2 parts, isn't it? I can't remember. But no, it's just really long.
It's one big video.
I tried to speed up some of it. I cut out tons of stuff that were just driving by buildings, some of it, and I left a bunch of stuff in. But it's definitely a neat view of getting to see everything. And the tour that we took was the Big Bus Red Line, I think. there's a live guide upstairs that is talking you through all this stuff that you see. So it's pretty cool. Definitely worth doing once, but I think I would get that as part of my London Pass if I were going to use my London Pass for a pretty good amount of things on each one of those days. That's the biggest
So
thing.
the best thing would be to go online and see what is offered through the London Pass, and if
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff looks interesting
Right.
to you, then get that and don't get the big bus tour.
yeah, yeah.
We didn't need to get both.
Right, exactly.
We should have just gotten the London Pass and not gotten the big bus tour
Right.
at all.
Right.
So next time, that would be one of those things that we would save on next time, because we would not get the big bus pass.
I don't even know that I would get the London Pass next time, because some of that stuff I probably wouldn't do again.
Well,
Let
yeah.
me tell you the things we used. We did the Shakespeare Globe Theater. I think once you've done the tour of that, you've done it. That's it. What do you need to go again?
Now, I would go back and see a play.
That's different. That's not covered.
Right.
The play's not covered. Just the tour is covered.
Right.
So we did that. I loved it, but I wouldn't do it again the second time because
Right,
it's just
because you've
well,
seen it. Right.
The Tower Bridge. I don't think I would do the Tower Bridge again. Once you've been up on the bridge and walked across the thing and walked back.
No, because you can always go across the
You can
bridge.
go across the
Yeah, you can
bridge.
go across the bridge and get pictures and all
Yeah,
that.
you just
But
can't go
as far
upstairs.
as going upstairs and going over the catwalk and all
Yeah.
that, or going across the, the glass floor,
Yeah. Worth doing the first time, but not the second time. The Tower of London I would definitely do again. Because that's a huge place.
It was huge. It was pretty cool.
And I still don't think we actually saw everything.
We didn't, but yeah, that would be neat to do that again.
Kensington Palace we would definitely do again. And the Pollock's Toy Museum, I would not do.
No, Pollock's Toy Museum we would not do.
So those are the things we actually got on the London Pass, and only 2 of them would we do again, and those only add up to what, $107
For both of us.
for both of us.
Yeah.
And it's not worth the $200 for that.
Right.
So if I were to do that, I would probably do that and only buy a 1-day big bus tour if you wanted to do that, because they did have a 24-hour one as well.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I would do if I were to go back again.
Right. Then, okay, so we talked about the London Pass, the big bus tour.
Skip down to here.
Then we're going to talk about the London Eye. We did open dates and fast track.
Right.
Which means what?
Tell how much it was.
It was $109.19 for both of us, so
Right.
it's not cheap.
Sorry, I've been talking all morning this morning, so my throat is kind of dry.
Open dates means that we.
Okay,
could
this is
have
what the
gone-
deal was. When you go to the London Eye website, you buy a ticket. When you're choosing your ticket, you've got a bunch of different options. The first option is you choose the date you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do Monday, May 20th, you pick, I don't know what the date is, but you pick whatever day, May 20th, and that's the day you have to go on. You have to
Right.
go that day. And the open dates means you can go anytime. I think you may have to pick the month. I can't remember for sure, but it's open dates. You got a lot more flexibility. The fast track actually lets you avoid some of the line, and there was not a huge line, but there was a back and forth line.
Right.
And we literally walked up a ramp, and we waited maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, we weren't
It
in
wasn't
line
even
no
5
time.
minutes.
Yeah, it was fast. It was definitely worth it. Yeah.
Did everybody in our car go fast track? I think they were. I think they flushed basically the whole fast track into one module.
And there
whatever it's
weren't
called.
very many people in there at all.
No, probably 10.
Because I always wondered that too. Is
You
like,
were worried about being packed.
I was like, do they pack you in there like sardines? And how in the world is everybody going to be able to take pictures?
Yeah, it
and,
wasn't that bad.
And it wasn't bad at all. No, there was plenty
I think
of
there
room.
was 10, probably, if I had to guess, it was probably 10 or 12, but it's big, so.
I'm terrified of heights. So I was perfect halfway up and halfway down. As far as the top part, I sat, there's a big, huge.
It's like a big egg.
Yeah, and there's like an egg-shaped seat in the middle.
Yeah.
And I sat in that seat.
And stared at the center of
And
it.
I told Kevin, Jennifer, and Jennifer will appreciate this, Jennifer and Nathan, I would tell Kevin, go over there and take a picture. Okay, now go here and take a picture, because she made fun of me when she was with us in London, because because I was telling Kevin, take a picture of this, take a picture of that. I was the same way on the London Eye, so I was just telling him, did you go over there? I was looking at the floor. Did you go over there? You know,
It was funny.
it was funny, but I'm glad I did it, even though I did not stand up on that top part. I'm still glad I did it. It was still a great experience. I still enjoyed it halfway up and halfway down. I just clung to the seat in the middle during that one little part. It was no big deal.
And I'm not afraid of, I don't like open heights, like if I'm on a ladder or something, I don't like that. But if I'm enclosed, I'm fine, because I'm
Kevin
like standing on top of a skyscraper, I could look out the window and be no big deal. But if I'm walking across Natural Bridge, which is just rock and nothing, I get a little freaky when I get near the edge. So it's just a difference for me. I don't like open heights. But that's something we wouldn't do again.
I wouldn't do it again.
But it was well worth doing it the first time.
Right, if you're going for the first time.
Yeah.
And something that I didn't write down that's free, and everybody should know about it, is even if you don't want to ride the London Eye is like right on the edge of the Thames River, and right across from that, where you would buy tickets, they have a free movie that anybody can go to. So like if you have kids and your kids don't want to do the London Eye, or you have somebody that you're going to stay, like part of your group's going in the Eye and you're waiting around for them, go to this free movie.
It's a 4D theater.
Yes, and all you do is you go in and you stand there, and it's probably only a 5-minute movie, but it's absolutely
It's cool.
free.
You get some good, it's like a helicopter's went above and taking a video and stuff. It's
yeah,
pretty cool.
it shows you what you will see if you go up in the Eye, but you're on the ground, you're completely safe.
But they've got wind blowing at you and lights and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, so definitely
cool.
do that. Even if you don't do the London Eye, you should still go to that free movie.
But and I don't know, if you know exactly what day you might go to the London Eye, you don't have to do the open date, so it'll be cheaper. And if you don't care to wait in line, don't do fast track. It'll be cheaper.
Yeah, it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, but it is cheaper online if you pre-order.
We paid, Kevin got a thing on our phone.
It's Passport, AT&T Passport.
He paid $126 for this. Yeah. And why did you do that? What was that for?
What you get, there's 3 different plans. You've got a $40 one, and then like an 80 and a 126, something like that.
Mm-hmm. This talks about how many megs you get.
Yeah, the cheap plan, you get unlimited AT&T Wi-Fi around the area, which there's quite a few of those. You pay $1 per minute if you make a phone call, like you call home or whatever. You get 200. You get 200 megs of data for 30 days. You get 200 megs in 30 days. That's with a $40 plan. The next one up, it like goes to 300 megs of data. The cost per minute of the phone calls goes down, and you still got unlimited Wi-Fi. And then the most expensive plan, you get 800 megs of data. You get cheaper calls, and it's still Wi-Fi stuff. And all of it's unlimited text, as long as you can send text for free, but you can't receive text for free. Remember that? Because I thought it was just unlimited text, period. You got to look at the fine print to realize you can't receive them for free. You can send all you want. I could send 500 texts a day, and it won't cost me a dime. One text costs like ridiculous. It was $1 or something.
We warned Andrew and Ashley,
don't send us text.
Don't text us unless I specifically say you can text me back. Right. And do not send me a text back. I will send you stuff. You cannot send me anything. Right. Which Andrew was like, why? You know, he didn't understand.
Because it costs us money.
Period.
But that being said, I would not spend the $126 again. I was worried that we would need the data. It ends up where there's enough free Wi-Fi and AT&T Wi-Fi spots to get you by to where you don't need to use. I use some data. I use right around 200 megs. I was right at 200 megs, and actually towards the end, I just turned it on anyway because I knew I had 800 I'd paid for. I might as well use it. But I didn't need to use that much.
Did you use it mainly during the Scottish part though?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and I use some, but like I said,
So if people are mainly in London where there's hotspots, they don't need to worry about it anyway.
That's what I'm saying. I left mine off most of the time because I was worried that it was going to suck up data like crazy. And I didn't do, of course, you can't do streaming video and stuff like that. I was using a couple different apps on my phone for planning routes and stuff like that. And I don't remember what the name of those apps are. I probably should have looked them up. I can look them up.
He had some really good
I'll look
apps.
them up while you're talking about something.
Because we're going to talk about those.
Because like she said, this video is going to go long. There's two really good apps that I Visit a City was one of them. And I don't remember what the other one is. I'll have to look it up. It's about the tube and planning your ride. But if I'd known, I would have just turned my data on and used it and not worried about it. Instead, I was getting to a Wi-Fi hotspot. I would plan out our route and then save it on the apps, which is really good. You can save it for offline. And then I would save them for like the entire day. I would okay, we're going from here to here, save that route. Now we're going from here to here, save that route. Now go from here to here and save that route. Then I didn't need to be online. So it was really good. You can compress the amount of data you need to use if you're smart.
There's smart ways to use it, yeah.
So anyway, I would only, if I were to do it again, I would still get a plan, but I would only get the $40 plan. That way I've got a little bit of data I can still play with. If I get stuck somewhere and I don't know how the heck to get anywhere, then I can turn on my data and figure out how to get somewhere.
Right.
And if somebody were to accidentally call me or something, it would be like $5 a minute, which if you don't get any plan, it's just $1 a minute. So anyway, I would do a 40, even if going for the first time, do the 40 unless you plan on using a lot of data. But there's ways around that.
Okay. Do you want to look up those apps?
Yeah, can you talk about other
We
things?
forgot we were going to talk about the apps. I'm glad he brought that up because I would have made the video and been like, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about those really good apps. Restaurants, the total for restaurants that we paid for the trip was $300.71. And I know people have been asking me, did you think it was really expensive in London? We ate in London about like we eat at Disney, which is we basically eat one meal a day.
But we didn't stress about how much we spent.
Oh no, not at all. I mean,
no.
I don't have a pen. No, go get one. It's okay.
You can talk.
I can talk. I can hold hold court myself. No, we didn't stress at all. It wasn't like we were trying to go on a budget as far as food goes. That's just the way we eat. That's the way we eat at home. I mean, here we eat one bigger meal a day and then pick the rest of the time. And like I said, at Disney, that's how we eat at Disney. We eat one big meal a day and really the rest of the day is just snacks. And it was the same way in London. We had, before we left the house, which I would recommend to anyone, if you know what hotel you're staying at, if you know where if you plan your days out and you know where you're gonna be for the day, I highly, highly, highly recommend looking up restaurants in the area. That way you don't get there and you're like, okay, I have no idea what's around me. I'm starving. Have no idea what's around me. I have no idea where to go or what's good, what ratings, you know, which restaurants have good ratings, which restaurants you need to avoid. You don't want to get in that kind of a situation, so it's better that you look up places before you leave the house, and that's what we did. So we knew, we pretty much had our days planned out, and we knew
at least the areas.
Yeah, we knew this is okay. On this day, we're gonna go to Rose and Crown, and it's located here. And that way, too, you can plan your day around that. You can kind of go like you go for the whole morning, and you know you're gonna eat lunch there. And pretty much we ate our bigger meals during lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think we only ate one big dinner
at the fire station.
That was the
first night we were there,
yeah,
and
that's because we
were there at night.
Yeah, we were there. We'd already gone through it.
Yeah. But it's best to plan ahead and know what is available. So anyway,
it so eliminates that where do you want to eat, where do you want to eat, and then you're walking down the street and there's so many places to eat that it's like you get overwhelmed and it's like, I don't know, where, whatever.
Yeah, you know? And you don't want to get in a situation where end up eating at some crappy chain restaurant just
Yeah.
because you don't know about the jewel around the corner.
That was right down that little
That was
street right
tucked
there.
away. I mean, because that one that we found, I mean, it was literally tucked away.
Yeah, most of the places we ate were kind of tucked away. There
And
was
they were
one.
cool.
There was one kind of very popular one, that Cheshire cheese. That was the only one on the main street that was kind of.
Poppy's was a popular
Yeah,
one.
Poppy's, only because someone recommended it, which
Yeah.
I'm glad she recommended it to us. But I think if I were to eat Poppy's again, I would eat it out of a truck.
Yeah, we were told by Silke, and I think Allison said too, that instead of eating in the restaurant, it would have
Yeah.
been better to eat it from the food truck.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
Anyway, we spent $300.71 on restaurants.
I don't think that's bad for 16 days.
I don't either. Well, the money for breakfast, I'll tell you that in a minute. That was just for restaurants. The food that we brought home to review, like we went to grocery stores and filled up bags and bags of food, it was $309.83. And so reviews that have come out,
I don't think we've done any reviews.
well, I have some that we've done at home
Oh, okay.
have come out, and they're just trickling. They're in no particular order because Kevin still has some on his computer that we reviewed in hotel rooms. Those will be coming out probably a month from now, but we've had so many to do that when you have $309.83 worth of groceries to go through, that's a lot of videos.
If you watch any of our videos, you hear me constantly complaining about every store we went into. That's why.
I loved it. I love grocery shopping.
It was interesting. It was fun.
The extra.
Now you have to go back and talk.
Oh,
about
we'll
this
go back.
first.
Okay, well then let me talk about this last one. Other things, money that we got from the cash machines for souvenirs. This is where breakfast and stuff would come in, like us buying Mr. Kipling's cakes for breakfast, whatever. All that was $452.23. So, and when I say souvenirs, I mean I bought like several sweatshirts. Kevin bought a couple of t-shirts.
T-shirt. Did I buy a sweatshirt?
You bought a sweatshirt, I
I
think.
haven't worn it yet because it's hot. I think I bought a sweatshirt and souvenirs.
We bought Andrew a sweatshirt. We
Yeah.
bought souvenirs. I mean, we bought all kinds of things, which you will have seen if you watch the video. So all that was $452.23.
Right.
So if you're not a big souvenir person, if you're not like me and you have to have a sweatshirt for everywhere you go, then you're not going to spend all that money. Because I probably spent $40 on a sweatshirt, but to me that was worth it.
Yeah, because she'll wear it until she dies.
Oh yeah, I'll keep it forever because that's my favorite clothing item is a hoodie, you know. So then
Now you can go back.
now we're gonna go back. Okay, the only thing we have not talked about is the Scottish tour.
And then you got that, and when we come back. But yeah, go ahead.
The Scottish tour, we went for 8 days. It was a coach tour. Included were breakfasts at all of the hotels we stayed at. We received breakfast, and that was like full English breakfast, whatever.
It was nice. Like a buffet English breakfast.
Yes, and then
They're posted. You would see them by now.
yes, and it also included some dinners.
Three?
Yeah,
I
probably
think
like
3 dinners.
The total for that was $2,166.52, and that was for both
For
of
both
us.
of those. And that included all accommodations, like the hotel accommodations, all tips for bringing your luggage up to your room and bringing your luggage back down in the morning,
Yeah, you
except
don't
your
get
hand
tips,
luggage. I'm talking
yeah.
about your big luggage. That included all that. And of course the travel around and the entrance to any, we didn't do any entrance for these.
No.
Yeah.
And extra excursions, which we'll talk about, extra excursions on this trip were $147.38.
Yeah. And that was the 3.
There were 3 excursions. We'll
Yeah.
talk about those in just a minute. The last thing as far as the price of the trip, and then I'll be finished with the price of the trip.
And I'll tell you about the apps real quick.
Was the Premier Inn County Hall.
That was that last night. We
The
had stuff.
last night, yeah, we came back into London from the coach trip. It was $200.43 for one night.
For one night.
Which was more expensive than the one we liked the best.
And honestly, the only reason I got that one is the station where we got dropped off for the bus. There's only like 3 or 4 hotels right there. They're all really expensive except for the one in Waterloo, the one we first stayed at. It's cheaper, but they were all booked. So they were all booked. So that's why I had to book there. Is that was the only one left. I guess I could have potentially have booked somewhere else and came back, but it actually worked out for the best because did you include the money for the cab?
Yeah, that's included in that.
The extras.
The other.
Okay, the others. We decided after dragging our luggage from the Waterloo station to the hotel the first time over bumpy sidewalks, and you're dealing with 2 pieces of luggage, and it is not fun.
It's not at all. I'm telling you, you can do it.
It's possible, but it's not fun. If you've got kids, I don't recommend it.
No, I wouldn't recommend doing it at all. You need to take
unless you got older. If you got teenagers, yeah, who cares? But if you got younger kids, don't do it. Just take a car. We paid £70, I believe.
No, it was like $71.
Dollars.
Yeah, it was $71.
Okay, $71 for us to take, both of us to take a private car, basically, from basically Waterloo, right next to the first hotel, to the airport that day. And then I had very little change. I think I may had £3 in my pocket. And I said, you know what am I going to do with this? So I just literally handed him every bit of change out of my pocket. I said, here.
Ended up, I would have used it at the airport, but
I gave it to him. I said, here, you benefit from you being the last person we see. And I just handed him a whole handful of change. He handed him
a whole handful of change.
Let me mention real quick, I won't go into too much detail on the apps, but you closed the book. I had the other one written down.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's right here.
Okay, one of them's called, the one I used probably the most was called City Mapper. And ignore the other apps I have on my phone, but it's right in the center of the screen. It's green. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it. Right there. In the middle of the screen, there's one called City Mapper. That's the one I use the most. And that one actually is not just for London. That's got Boston and New York and all kinds of places. And what's cool about it is you can say, okay, I'm at the Victoria and Albert, or I'm where I'm at now. Find my current location. And I need to travel to Victoria and Albert Museum. Right, so it would go out there and it uses the Wi-Fi or an internet connection. It goes out there and figures out, okay, you need to go to this station, you need to take this train, you need to transfer at this station. If you needed to transfer, it told you which, southwest, whatever, and then it told you directions from there, how to walk from the tube station to the place you're going. Awesome. It was awesome. That was the best app. But what was cool is play with it at home. Don't get there and try to figure it out, please. Yeah. You can save those for offline, because if you don't save them, you have to have a data connection. But if you save them, it'll download the map for that area that you're going to be traveling in. It'll keep the things that you're going to go, and you can go just scroll through the list of things you're going to each step of the way. It's really, really cool. And it tracks where you're currently at, because you're not using data if you're using GPS. I made sure of that. If you're using the GPS on your phone, you can turn off your cellular data and still use GPS. So it always tracked my GPS position. So I could literally hold my phone. You'll see in some of the videos I'm holding my phone. It's not because I'm attached to my phone that much. It's because I'm looking at a map on my phone, and it's got an arrow following. It's got a line of where I need to walk or whatever, and we're following that line. So it's really cool. It's one of the best apps ever. And the other one I found literally probably a week before we left.
Yeah.
It's called Visit a City. I don't know if I can find it again. It was one of the last ones I downloaded. But Visit a City, I found their website. And their website has like pre-planned trips. Like if you're doing you can do whatever. If you're going to do a 5-day trip in London and you want a 5-day itinerary, they'll pull up a 5-day itinerary and give you general ideas of what you can do in those 5 days, and then you can go customize it and add and move and things like that. And what's really cool about it, the website, is it'll pick things that you want in the same area. So it'll put them all in the same area. So if you're near, let's say you want to go to the Tower of London one day, it'll pick other things you want and put those things that are near the Tower of London on the same day. So you're not walking all over the city or taking subways everywhere. It kind of groups them all together. So it's really cool. And then the app, not the best app in the world, but basically the app lets you pull up what you'd saved online into the app, and you could look at what you needed to go to and where you needed to go next and things like that. The mapping part wasn't 100% reliable all the time, but it was still pretty good. But City Mapper, I would download it anytime. And it also covered bus routes. If you wanted a private car, it included Uber. And it also included bicycles and walking. So it covered pretty much anywhere you want, any way of transportation you wanted to. It even told you what buses to take, although we never took one bus, except the bus tour, but we didn't take a city bus.
No, we didn't take a city bus.
So,
but I didn't
cool.
mind the tube at all. I actually quite enjoyed the tube.
She liked being sardines.
I didn't mind. You know what? If you've been to Disney, I think I've said this to somebody. If you've been to Walt Disney World, and you've rode
the late night train,
the late night shuttle, the bus back to the hotel, then that prepares you for London and for the tube, because
you got people sitting down and you're standing there.
We're used to it. We're used to being shoved in there like sardines at Disney, and so I was used to it on the tube, and it was no different. I didn't mind it at all. Truth be told, I probably had more room on the tube than I had at Disney most of the time.
Yeah. And you didn't have these
sweaty people.
Well, that one time it was pretty hot and sweaty down there. When we were really packed in there.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah,
there was one day it was like
one. It was
hot.
only one day.
Yeah.
So, so now, do you want to talk about our favorite things before we head off to the Scotland, or how do you want to do this?
I don't want to spend a lot of time on favorite things. Everybody's so different. The museums were some of my favorite things. Victoria and Albert Museum, I could go there twice.
That was number one. Number one. We did go there twice. Remember, we had a little bit of time left.
I mean, if I went back, I could still go there twice. It's so huge.
I would definitely go back again and again.
Huge place.
And somebody said, now that we're home, of course, somebody said that the food, that they have like a cafe, and the cakes there are supposed to be warm.
Oh, really?
So next time when we
we'll have to go.
we have to eat.
I would do the National Portrait Gallery again.
Yes.
And I think I would. We did that the second day we were there.
And then that's the one we went back in to buy that Katie, the book for Ashley.
Yeah.
And the Mr. Men in London.
But that place is huge too.
Oh, and it was
by the time,
wonderful.
We appreciated it more after we left than we did probably halfway through. Because by the time you've looked at your 5,000th painting, they all kind of run together.
You're like, really?
Yeah, and we were so tired, and Tammy's feet were absolutely killing her. If you've seen the video with that blister, that was the day it developed, wasn't it? Or that was the day.
That was the day after. I had already cut the skin off of it by then, hadn't I? In that video?
Yes, but the end of that day was the day your shoe was full of blood.
Oh, yeah. Well, what the deal was with
Lovely.
that, what the deal was, I wasn't wearing my Converse. I wasn't wearing my white Converse. I was wearing black flats. And the black flats were broken in. They really were. However, I didn't know that we would be walking 7 miles, literally minimum 7 miles a day that we were there. And even... like Kevin was talking earlier about the tube going, even if you're going from the tube to your destination, there is a lot of walking to get to the tube.
Yeah. When you walk in the doors to the station,
tunnels.
Yeah, you don't just expect to go into a station and go, oh, there's the train. No, it doesn't like.
It's about like when you go to Disney and you think, oh, here's the entrance to the ride. The ride must be right there. No, little do you know, the ride's a mile back in there that you have to walk. Yeah, that's like how the tube is. The tube is
lots of walking.
Yeah, lots and lots of walking.
So anyway, that portrait gallery, I would definitely do that again.
I like the British Museum, the one we weren't there for a long time either.
No, the British Museum, I could definitely do that again. I'm sure we miss a lot. I would skip the Natural History Museum.
Now, see, some people will kill you for saying that, but I think if you have children, they would like it.
I was going to say, if you've got children or you're really into dinosaurs and stuff like that,
then you should go.
Go by all means. If it's your first time, go.
Yeah.
Second time back, I would not go again.
Yeah, we wouldn't go back because we don't have kids, and we would rather go to the more adult museums like Victoria and Albert.
And the dinosaur part was cool, but the other parts were, I hate to say it, we went through the human part.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a joke. I mean, it really was. They had like pictures of the inside of your ear.
It was a lot of pictures.
Yeah, and light up stuff and little activities.
And I don't mean paintings. I mean like pictures,
Like somebody
you
drew
would
'em.
see in a textbook.
Yeah.
And they had just blown them up, and it was,
you could walk through,
they did the
a colon or something,
reproduction. They did that.
Yeah. They
And
had
it
something
was-
about memory where you could look on one side of the wall and then you went over here and you did something to try to see if you would memorize it. Little activities like that that's really good
For kids.
For 8 to 10, 12-year-olds, somewhere around there. An adult by ourselves, it was just too cute.
Yeah, it
The
was.
bugs, I was expecting the bug area. We had the insect area, we went in there.
Yeah.
And I even showed that on video some. It was all pictures of bugs. There was no actual bugs anywhere. I thought there would be some, give me a hornet's nest or give me some bees or some ants or something. There was nothing. I was just really, really disappointed.
Yeah.
And it's huge and beautiful as that building is.
The building is gorgeous.
You would think there'd be a lot more in there than there was.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was disappointed. If you have kids, go there. Even if you're an adult and it's your first time, I would never discourage you from going.
Yeah, you should go one time.
Experience it
Just
for
see
yourself.
yeah.
And you might say, this is the coolest stuff ever. For me personally, it was no different than our Lexington Children's Museum, with the exception of the dinosaur park.
Right.
Those are the places I would go definitely. Kensington Palace, we both agree that was really cool.
I would go to Kensington Palace.
And I would go to that
Hampton
Court again. And Hampton Court was almost an all-day thing.
Hampton Court was, all day, and even I have the maps still, and there are gardens that I know we didn't go through all.
We didn't go to the one whole side of the house.
Yeah.
The garden on the other side.
Yeah, the garden. Garden. We went through the house, but we didn't go to a whole garden. Yeah, because it was a lot of walking.
It was a lot.
It's constant walking, and it's walking to where you don't sit down. You're constantly moving and
They do have places you can sit down.
They
though,
do,
so.
but if you're trying to use your time wisely, we were only in London for a week,
Right.
and so we didn't want to spend a lot of time sitting down. So.
Hampton Court was really cool. That was the day we went to Hampton Court very early in the morning. We stayed until from the time they opened, basically. So we pretty much had done. We were worn out.
It was
honestly.
dinner time.
It was close to dinner time. We went back and that's the day we went to Victoria Albert Museum, because Tammy wanted to walk the streets, and I'm like, I'm tired. I can't walk anymore. So we ended up going to Victoria and Albert Museum and looking at parts we hadn't been. We hadn't been there yet.
Yeah.
So those are my top ones that I would probably definitely do again. Trafalgar Square is always neat to look around. Big Ben and Parliament, that's always cool to look at.
As far as grocery stores, I loved M&S and Waitrose.
Yeah,
those
the
were
full-size
like,
Waitrose.
Those were like my two favorite grocery stores. We were in a Sainsbury, that was nice. Tesco, but we were only in, I think, the Express ones, which are smaller.
Kind of like a convenience store here.
Right. But as far as, if I were to have if I were to shop over there, I would probably choose Waitrose.
The bad thing is there was only a couple of them, and they were really far away from all the stations that you could go to.
Right.
You had to walk a while. So we need to change our battery. So we're going to switch out here, and then we'll talk about the Scotland trip.
Okay, so the rest of the video pretty much I think is going to be about Scotland, and this will be about our coach tour that we took, and
And just, if you've stayed with us this long, we're going to end it with snapshots of how many steps we did each day.
Right, because we wore our Fitbits, of course, and
you can see exactly how much we walked every day.
Did you do the Scotland part tour?
I think so.
Too?
I think so. I think we did every day.
Well, I didn't know. I thought you only did London. I didn't know.
We did all of them.
Oh, okay. Because
it drops sharply after.
Yeah, I was gonna say we didn't walk very much when we got on this tour.
It's okay. You'll get to see.
And the only reason why we did get as many steps as we did a lot of days is because I made sure that I got my steps. Yeah. Because it's like we've been sitting on a bus all day. Yep. I need to get my steps.
Yeah, we need to walk.
So, okay. The England Scotland Heritage Tour is the name of it. It is through Trafalgar.
That's who does the trip, is Trafalgar.
Trafalgar.
We actually paid for it through Scottish Tours.
Right, and you paid for it all online.
All online. You book it online. I actually had to email them twice, I believe. the first time, because their website wasn't working and it wouldn't let me book the thing. So I emailed him saying, can't do anything on your website. And he said they fixed something on their website and then I could book. And the second time was I hadn't heard anything, no details on the trip. And they said, oh, well, yeah, we're sending those out next week. And I don't know if they just forgot or they literally just wait until like, it was like a week or two. The 11th hour. It was like a week or two before the trip.
Yeah,
and we got a detailed itinerary.
Yeah, we were getting concerned because we hadn't heard anything.
Yeah.
But the first thing that we wrote down, we took notes, is that the pictures on the Scottish Tours website do not accurately reflect what you can expect to see.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't remember exactly what it was.
There were specific pictures.
There was pictures. There were pictures of inside places that you would have had to pay extra to go see.
Right. They need to give a detailed. They didn't give us a detailed schedule before we left.
This is after we paid for it and everything.
Yeah, after we paid for it and everything, you have no idea like where you're going to be stopping for lunch.
No.
Like I told you earlier, I like to choose the restaurant before we go. Yeah. And you have no idea exactly where you're going to be stopping, and you don't know for how long you're even going to be there.
Yeah. And in all fairness, it's a coach tour, so it's kind of fluid anyway.
Right.
However, they could say, we're going to do this in the morning. Lunch is at this place.
Right.
And then in the afternoon, we're going to do this. And then we're going to be here in the evening. They could just break it down as simple as that. I don't need times. Don't give me times. We're going to be here
at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't need to know exact times. But you could at least tell me kind of morning, afternoon, evening. This is specifically the town we're going to be in when you eat lunch. And also, we never knew exactly what area of the town we were going to be in to eat lunch. One time we picked a place that was pretty far away,
yeah.
And we kind of had to rush to get there and rush to get back. You know, little things like that kind of bugged me about the tour. And you have the vague itinerary they give you online, it's true, it's real, but they don't tell you how long they might mention a place that you're literally driving by. You can see the sights of whatever, yes, through your window, right. You know, as you're driving by. So, you know, it's a little bit of heightened advertising.
I felt that way about Windsor Castle. And they did just say you get to see Windsor Castle.
Right, you did.
We got to see Windsor Castle.
Yeah, from about half a mile away.
Yeah,
there it is on that hill.
We weren't there. We weren't there very long at all.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been long enough to even get in the gates
right.
to get in.
It's so expensive to get in that once you've paid all that money, you want to be able to spend your time there.
Yeah.
You don't want to go in for even an hour and then have to leave because the place is huge. You could spend a day.
Edinburgh Castle was the same way.
Edinburgh Castle was exactly the same way.
That place is monster. I mean, it's like a little city in there.
Yeah, and she told us that, you know, you can pay to get in there, but you're not going to get to go, you know, go through it all.
You get to see the main house probably, that's about it.
Yeah, you're not going to get to go through it all. So, yes, we saw Edinburgh Castle. We took pictures and all that stuff of the outside, and it was really cool to see. But we didn't go inside at all just because we didn't want to spend the money and it would have been wasteful.
Yeah. Now, if we'd been on our own and we had a day or two, if we had all day to spend in there, we probably would have done it. That would have been cool.
I would have loved to have seen Windsor.
And I would have seen Edinburgh.
I mean, Edinburgh too, but I'm saying both of those places, I look back now and it's kind of like...
I wish we could have done that.
Yeah, I get like a pang. Because,
but you know what? We know now that we can go back and that's something we can do.
Right. I wrote down that before you book the trip, you should know all of the excursions.
Yes, we have a sheet of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 excursions that are optional excursions.
And we didn't know any of those.
And they might have vaguely mentioned that if you choose, you can go to this, but there's no cost listed anywhere.
The prices, that's what I wrote down too.
Yeah, we got the prices once we got this.
You should know those up front and how they will fit into the schedule.
Yeah, this is actually what I got. And this is what's basically on their website.
And it doesn't give the excursion.
It did that with some of them they do, but
it doesn't give the price.
Oh, it does not give the price. No.
There's no prices of any of the excursions. meaning we paid for the trip, but we didn't pay to do any of the extra stuff.
Yeah.
So
And their website's not
so
even
you got a sheet while you were on the coach, and you filled out, you decided which ones, if any, you didn't have to pick any.
No, you didn't have to pick
which
any.
ones you wanted to go on, and then she took your debit card on the, right there on the coach.
Or your credit card.
Or your credit card, and you pay for it right there. We chose 3. We chose, and this is, let me say this before I go on, that this is what I didn't know about this. And I just didn't know that she's trying to sell you as many of these things as she possibly can. I didn't know that. I had no idea that, and I'm talking about the travel director. I just didn't know that because I've never been on a bus tour, that she's up there trying to, she goes through each of these things and she's trying to make them sound as grand
Yeah, she's giving you the sales pitch.
as she can because she wants to get you to
Yeah.
buy them. I didn't know that. I thought they were her true feelings.
She's giving you the hard sell. We did pick 2 more. We did the a steam train ride and the lake cruise.
Lake Windermere.
Which that was beautiful.
I
it
would
was
do that
very
again.
nice. The steam train was who
The
cares?
steam train was nothing.
Yeah, it was just a ride on the I mean, honestly, I don't remember anything
It
about
was no different than the one we went on here with Christina.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I remember sitting there and I remember looking out the windows
That's
and seeing.
because we were talking the whole time.
But I mean, I remember seeing some grass going by, but that's.
There
there really wasn't anything
Yeah, there was
special
nothing
about
to
it.
see. So the train wasn't the
Right.
highlight.
Unless you're really big into steam trains, then you might really be big into this.
Yeah, the train wasn't the highlight. It was the boat ride.
Yeah,
that was the
and it was pretty
highlight.
good, and it was really packed though. That's the only complaint I have, but it was neat. It was beautiful scenery.
It was beautiful, beautiful scenery.
And we
how
did
much did that cost?
that one was
$35.
No, that was $50.
No,
for
Lake
being-
Windermere.
Yeah,
$35.
that's pounds.
Oh.
It was $50 for both of us.
$50.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's pretty expensive for a boat ride.
For a boat ride. And you don't get any food or anything.
You don't get anything. They don't give you a souvenir cup or anything.
Oh gosh.
And then we went to Pitlockery, which we went to Blair Castle, and if you watched that video, you know what we did there. It was $57.83 US dollars for both of us. That was an interesting excursion. We enjoyed going and looking at the Highland games, watching them practice.
This is what kills me, okay? When they plan these coach tours, they could have looked. I'm sure that the Highland Games are around the same time every single year. We could have stayed there all day long. They could have said, hey, we're gonna stop here right next to Blair Castle. The Highland Games are going on. You can pay to get in and you can see all these tournaments that are going on. You can see the dancers. You can pay to get food and have a good time. I would have stayed. It makes my heart ache. I'm telling you. I would have stayed there all day long watching those Highland Games.
It's pretty cool.
It was absolutely, we went in Blair Castle, which honestly, how much did it cost?
$57.83
I would not pay $57 again. I wouldn't.
to go through Blair.
To go through Blair.
It wasn't as impressive as Kensington and Hampton Court.
No, that's just being honest.
It was neat.
It
to
was
do
neat.
It was neat, but I don't think I would definitely wouldn't do it again. If it's your first time and you've got the opportunity, sure, go for it. But
we would do Hampton Court and Kensington again.
Yeah, we wouldn't
We
do
would
there
not
again.
do Blair
Yeah.
again. It just.
one thing that kind of was annoying is you couldn't do any photography at all. No video, no photography.
They were
but
very
if you wanted,
strict.
but if you wanted to, you could buy this lovely tour guide
Yeah.
that has pictures in it. I mean, literally, we kind of got this.
Yeah, we got the
Vanna
sales
White.
pitch that you have to buy the
Yeah,
book.
you could buy this. It's full of professional photography of all the areas in Blair Castle,
Right.
and it's only 455 pounds. Not
Right.
really, but you know what I mean. If you wanted to get the pictures and stuff, they're trying to basically say you can't take any pictures in here, but you can buy the book and get them.
Whereas Hampton Court and Kensington, you could take all the pictures you wanted to,
Yeah.
video, everything,
Yeah.
as you all saw.
You couldn't take flash photography in
I
a couple
walked
areas.
into
that was it.
Blair Castle and they were like, "Oh no,
The minute you walk in the door.
He was immediately on me, and in every room. I mean,
They follow you around.
I wouldn't have tried
Yeah.
anyway. Once you tell me it's against the rules,
Right.
I'm not going to try to break the rules as far as that goes. I'm very respectful when it comes to taking pictures and my camera and stuff like that, because I wouldn't want it to get confiscated or anything
Yeah.
like that. That means a lot to me. So once they said no photography, that was it for me. But they do treat you like you're a criminal, and they're watching you. You know,
Right.
they're scared to death that somebody's gonna take a picture.
And honestly, we ran into this at a church later on. They would probably make more money if they were to charge you a photography fee and they stuck a red banner around your neck or a
We
sticker
did
on your
that.
forehead or whatever.
We did that in a church. We paid like £2
Yeah.
extra to be able to take all the pictures and video that we wanted
Yeah,
to.
and it was well worth it.
I would
Why
have done
not?
the same thing in Blair Castle. If they wanted to charge me £5 extra to have been able to take pictures, I would have paid that. In a heartbeat, I would have paid it. But anyway.
And there really wasn't enough. There wasn't anything impressive enough in there to really take a lot of video. And pictures of it.
Unfortunately, I just would not do Blair Castle again. I wouldn't.
No
But
offense
now,
to anybody in that area. If you love it, so be it. For us, it just wasn't.
She
such a good-
sold it to be her favorite castle ever. Now, literally, she said that this was her
she
favorite
did.
castle that she had ever been through, that it was so impressive, and that's why we decided to choose that out of over other things that we could have chosen, is because she said that, and so it was a castle, so we decided to do it. I would have rather though, and then so anyway, we went through Blair Castle and we had a little bit of time left, and we got to watch. I mean, we were on the top of a hill, and the Highland Games were taking place below.
Yeah, pretty far away. I mean, not super far away. But
The day was gorgeous.
It was
the
nice.
sky was blue. It wasn't hot. It was the perfect day. Everybody on the bus could have stayed there all day, and we could have stayed at a hotel in that area and enjoyed those Highland Games.
yeah, they could have made an adjustment for that.
Yes, and so Trafalgar or whoever's making up that schedule needs to say, okay, this is something that's going on in the area. Anywhere where there's a fair or something that's only in this area, they need to make allowances for and let people on that tour enjoy it. We'll pay to get in, you know, just like we paid for these other excursions.
I think
they're not getting anything out of it.
They're not getting anything out of it. One and
That
two,
just dawned
they're
on me.
scheduled. They're scheduled so tight. They can just, if they change their schedule, then they're gonna have to figure out, okay, well, this group's going during this time, they can do this, and this group's doing this time, they can do this. They'd rather cookie cutter it and say, okay, every group that goes on this tour does the exact same thing every day,
Right.
and they can loop it through. They don't even have. They can start a new tour every. I think in this tour started every week on Wednesday. The first day.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so they're running a new tour every Wednesday, and they don't have to think about it. They just do it.
Right.
So anyway.
I have written down, they need to let people know if you don't go on the excursions, like if you'll get to spend time in the town afterwards. For example,
No, if you go to excursion.
if
Blair is
we
the perfect
went on
example.
an excursion.
Yeah.
We went to Blair Castle,
Right.
and so while we were in Blair Castle, all the other people
went to that Pit
got to
Lockery.
go to Pit Lockery, and they got to spend time. Was that where Beatrix Potter?
Yeah, with the
They got to spend time there, and I thought, oh, well, when we leave Blair, we'll get to go spend
To
a
that
little
town,
bit of
too.
time in that town, and we didn't.
No, we literally drove up, picked the people up that had been there for the 3 or 4 hours we were at Blair, and then left.
So you got basically,
We didn't even get off the bus.
Yeah, you had a choice. Either you go to Blair Castle or you go to that town.
But they didn't spell
But they
that
didn't
out.
say that.
No, because I think we both would have stayed in
She
the town.
didn't say that.
honestly.
Yeah, she did not say either go to Blair or spend time in the town.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They could be a little more clear on that kind of stuff.
And then I wrote.
And that was even on the final itinerary they sent. They weren't clear about that even in the final.
No, nothing is clear. There were a lot of opportunities to go to dinners.
Yeah. Yeah. They had a couple of really expensive dinners.
Really expensive dinners, and One of the dinners they even ended up canceling because no one picked it, or not enough people picked it.
I think it was only like 2 or 3 people.
Some people picked it, but not enough people picked it because
that
it was going to be
city evening. That's going out to the bars and going drinking and dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
But people did do the Scottish show with dinner. It was 54 pounds. So if you figure that's $100, 100 pounds, that's $150 for dinner. And
we went back to our room.
Really expensive.
We had bought so much at Waitrose and M&S and places like that. We ate in our room. Yeah. Mr. Kipling was like he's my secret boyfriend now.
Is that all you have?
No, the only other thing I wrote down.
I'm trying to wrap this up, so we won't be longer.
Is we only had 45 minutes for lunch in Pitlochry, but an hour later we stopped in St. Andrews for an hour and a half. If we had known we were going to be stopping in St. Andrews for an hour and a half, we wouldn't have rushed to eat in Pitlochry. We would have been like, oh, well, we're going to spend an hour and a half in St. Andrews. We'll just wait. We just never. The point is it wasn't clear. The schedule wasn't clear. The prices for the excursions weren't clear.
Before you got to
before you had already paid for the trip.
Yeah. Now we were on what they call, which kind of annoys me.
Yeah, they drove
cost saver version. Yes. In other words, you are on the economy tour, so
and they let you know it too. They called it the cost saver tour,
and they think that's a positive thing. I think it's kind of insulting. Why can't they say I don't know, just some other word?
Not call it anything. Why label it? It was insulting to call it. You're on the cost saver.
You're on the economy cheapo tour. The deal is with this one is you pay for the excursion separately. The only difference is the full price ones is it's scheduled around the excursions. So you prepay for the excursions and they schedule them in.
Right.
So everybody would have done Blair Castle, let's say. That may not be the exact case, but you know what I mean. The higher cost ones do that. However, even all those complaints being said, I still like the idea of a coach tour.
I was going to ask you if you would do it again.
I wish there were some changes they would make as far as giving you a little more detail. And that may be coach tours over here just as bad as there.
Yeah, we've never been
the Shockey Tours, which is a company around the United States.
Here, yeah.
They may be just as bad and just as vague as they are over there. So that maybe that's an industry thing, and it's not just that company. I'm not going to put down that company because I just don't know.
Right.
But I do have to say that if that is an industry thing, that's a shame, because overall I did enjoy being able to. There's no way that we could have been to the places we went over those 8 days on our own. There's no way, because I'm not going to rent a car and drive all over those places.
Right.
I don't even think all those places would have been accessible by train or something like that. Edinburgh, you could have got to Edinburgh with a train. But when we were in the Highlands, you would have had to have driven a car up there.
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to drive a car in the Highlands and get lost for it. I could just, I could barely figure out where he was going half the time. So the advantage of being able to go the places we went and get to see the places we saw kind of outweighs some of the complaints we had. We got pretty ticked off in Scotland, the Highlands, during the day. They all went to a
dinner.
No, they went to the sheep farm.
They went to the sheep farm.
They went to the sheep farm, and we even thought about doing that. And it's like, yeah, but it's just a guy and some dogs and some sheep. Who cares? So they got to our hotel. We literally got dropped off at our hotel at 4 o'clock.
It was very early.
4 o'clock is pretty early.
I thought it was like
it may have been 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was early, one way or the other. We got dropped off at the hotel, not in the city, at our hotel. The hotel, if you watch the video of the, I can't remember the name of the hotel. I can find it really, really quick.
Anyway, it was out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't see
There was.
Yeah, you were literally out in the middle of the country with nothing.
Where the video where somebody said it made me nervous, you walking along the side of the road.
Yeah.
We were out in the middle of the country, and there was nothing to do.
So we get dropped off. That's the only time we truly got. I'll just use harsh language. We were pissed. Yeah, we truly were. We got dropped off at the hotel at 3 o'clock. They went off and did their farm thing, and then they come back at like 6 o'clock that night, and then they got ready and went out for dinner. If they did no, we had dinner at the hotel that night. So they got back around 6. So for 3 hours there, they're gone. We're sitting at the hotel. There's absolutely nothing to do at the hotel except play some pool or watch TV. You know, that's it. There's nowhere to walk because the roads, there's no shoulder. We walked the way we went was actually the nice way. The other way, literally, you came out of the hotel, you walked down a little ways of the road, and it was like a 90-degree turn, and cars couldn't even see if you were coming around that turn.
So what would you suggest? That they have you at a hotel in a town?
Either that or drop me off somewhere between there and the sheep farm and let me walk around for a little while or something. I don't know. Surely to goodness there was surely to goodness there was somewhere they could have taken us instead of just literally dumping us in the middle of nowhere at this hotel where there's nothing to do. That was the only time we really got annoyed, and when I think about it, it still annoys me a little bit. But
can you tell?
But I think it annoyed some other people sometimes. We did go on an excursion like that Lake
Windermere
and the steam train. I heard a comment from somebody after that saying, is there any way you could tell us if we're going to be stuck sitting on a bench waiting around for the bus to pick us up and if we don't go on the excursion?
Right.
So basically they didn't do the excursion and they got dropped off in this little bitty town evidently that didn't have a lot to do evidently.
And they didn't appreciate it
because they were sitting there for.
So we weren't the only ones,
yeah.
And it sounds like this is one big gripe fest about the coach tour.
But
that's what I'm saying. Would you really do it
overall?
again?
I don't know that I would do it again.
For example, like I would like to go to Ireland. If I go to Ireland, I would rather pick one big central place in Ireland,
that you can take a train
and then maybe take a one-day train to some place and then come back.
But the trains don't go everywhere.
Or a bus.
You have to take a bus.
Take a bus to a certain place and then come back, rather than another coach tour.
Yeah, I can say that
I would have to think hard about it. We did a round trip tour of the bus. There was another option we could have done that was only 6 days, I think. And what it was, you took a train from London to Edinburgh, and then you took daily trips out of Edinburgh out to these different places. You know, you could do something like that. That may have been better now that we've done this.
But we wanted to see some of England too, and this was the only one that went down to Bath and York, came down to York. It's the only one that went around through London.
Would we not? So we wouldn't have gotten to see the shambles.
Wouldn't have got to see the shambles.
See, when I think about stuff like that we did, we got to go to the shambles and we got to have tea.
Yeah, at an Anne Hathaway tea room.
Yeah, and that was like the highlight. I mean, I absolutely love that.
And see, I still think it was good, but there could have been improvements to how they did things. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So anyway.
So just some things to think about if you want to go on a coach tour is, if you want not times, but if you want to know where you're going to be going during the trip, you should ask because they have all that planned out.
I would think so.
And they could give
They know where they're going to stop.
Yeah, they could give you all these prices. They could give you this form before the tour.
I would think so.
Yeah.
And if I'd asked, maybe I could have, but I never thought to ask because I didn't know. Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know to ask.
So anyway, what was your favorite part of the trip? Was it London or was it
I like
the
London.
coach tour?
I like London the best, but if you take the places we got to see in Scotland, I like those.
I did too.
But
it was beautiful. It
was beautiful country, and Edinburgh, I loved Edinburgh. Edinburgh was very cool. I would have liked to have been able to spend. We probably spent 5 or 6 hours there.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And it was on different levels.
That is a freakiest city because literally it's on. You got this level, and you got this level, and if you saw those stairs we walked up,
it had the neatest alleyways and stairs, and I mean.
Yeah, but that video of us going upstairs didn't do it justice because.
Listen. You literally, there was at one point where there was a railing and you literally had to
pull yourself up. You didn't have to pull yourself up, but it helped.
We did. And I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I'm out of shape and fat and I made it. But
I'm in
I
pretty good shape.
And she's in pretty good shape and exercises on the elliptical every day, and she was breathing as heavy as I was. But yeah, going from one level to the other of that city was pretty tough, but it was cool.
It would be neat to go back and be able to go through some of the museums, because they have free museums, just like
they
London
have the Scottish Museum, Edinburgh Castle. I would have liked to have gone there. So if I were to go back, I'd probably go to just Edinburgh and Scotland again.
Yes.
I'd go there again, but you can take a train from London to there, not doing the rest.
Right. It would be neat if you could pick some place in Ireland and then take you straight to Edinburgh, and then from Edinburgh.
I don't know how you could get from Ireland. I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
You do a fair. I know there's a ferry, but Scotland was beautiful, and I'm very grateful that we got to see the shambles and all that, and I just wish we had gotten to see more of Windsor. I wish we had gotten to spend some more time there.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it was a wonderful trip. To me, it was worth, it was almost $10,000. To me, it was worth it. There's a lot of things, like Kevin said, we figured it up. If we wanted to just go to London for about a week, it would only cost us about $5,000.
Most of that's a flight.
Yeah, I don't think $5,000 for a week to London is bad at all. Because
we spend $3,000 going to Disney.
Yeah, $3,000. So because there's a lot of things that we did for first-time London or first-time visitors to London that we wouldn't do again, like the London Eye, just little things like that.
I probably wouldn't do the bus thing again if I were to go back.
No, because we've already done it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do London Pass. I probably wouldn't do the bus tour. I wouldn't do any of that stuff if I went back.
No.
The first time I would definitely do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the London Eye. We would save money on our phone. See, now that we've done it, we know. But I would definitely, I love that hotel. I love the area. I loved it that Waterloo Station was literally right around the corner.
Yeah, it's like a 10 or 15 minute walk.
There were plenty of shops, souvenir shops. There was a grocery store right across the street, a little like a convenience store.
And we know the prices for the pot noodles were really expensive there.
Yeah, we paid. Yeah, Kevin did reviews on his Lunchtime Review channel of pot noodles. We paid a fortune for pot noodles, but it was like buying them at a convenience store here. I mean, it was just more expensive. Yeah. So, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video.
If you've made it this far.
I hope you enjoyed the whole series of videos if you watch them. If you have any questions, if we get a lot of specific questions down below, we will make another video and just answer those questions. Yeah. And then it won't be as long. But we really did try to think of everything in this one that we could, and I'm sure we'll end it and we'll think of something that we should have mentioned. But
and I'll put pictures. We did, like I said, screenshots of our Fitbit screens for steps, so you can kind of see. I'll put the day, and then I'll put our steps like side by side.
It's a lot of walking.
It's amazing how much walking.
Which to me is a plus.
We do as much, if not more, walking in London than we do at Disney.
Yes.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. It's more, I think it's more walking in London than Disney. Yeah. And especially because at Disney you're on rides for a certain amount of time.
So you walk and you
not
stop.
Walking.
You walk and you stop.
In London, we were always on our feet. So, but two things I would recommend taking a little umbrella for each of you.
Yeah, that way you can just carry
umbrella. Something. And also recommend a comfortable pair of shoes. You will be doing a lot of walking. So, and people recommended those to me. And I thought my shoes were very comfortable and they were broken in. But flats, just for when you're going over 7 miles a day, you can't wear flats. You have to wear some tennis shoes.
Yeah, or hiking boots or something. Something like that.
Is that it?
That's all I can think of. You can take a poncho if you want to, but the little umbrellas work fine for us. You saw in some of the videos I had a sweater on. This is in the end of May. It was cold in the morning, but I got hot. I got hot about a third of the way through the day. Once we got into those museums, I thought I was going to die. So I'd end up taking it off and carrying it with me and stuff.
Me, in every picture of us that you see almost, I'm wearing like a houndstooth sweater. That was a last minute item that I grabbed from my
And
closet.
you're glad you did.
Thank the Lord I grabbed it, because I would have been absolutely miserable. Ashley gave me that sweater and I wore it like, it was like my coat.
Yeah.
Every single day I wore that.
Because it was 60 degrees. Pretty much the highest for every day was like 65.
Yes, it was
something.
usually in the low 50s for the high. For most of those
Yeah.
days, it was in the low 50s, and I would have froze to death.
And I got hot, so.
Yeah.
But in the morning it was cold, so I'd go back and forth. And the tube, there's no air conditioning in the tube, so it does get hot down in there
Right.
during the middle of the day. But beyond that, I just basically recommend you taking a jacket of some kind, but just one that you're willing to take off and carry around with you later on.
Right.
You don't want some big heavy coat, but a jacket is good for that time
Right.
of year at least. So.
But we're gonna end it for now. We're gonna quit yakking because I'm sure we could think of things all night long.
I
But
could.
please, if there's anything at all that you have questions about, we don't mind talking about anything. If we can help you out at all, we will. Because I know a lot of people have contacted me already saying, I'm going to London at this and such time, and you're lucky, by the way, very fortunate if you're going. I think it's wonderful. To the girl who told me that she's going for New Year's, make sure you bundle up. Don't be like Ashley. Ashley went for New Year's and she wore a very light coat because she was in high school and she didn't want to wear a big coat and look fat. So she wore a very light, dressy coat.
Froze.
She was miserable the entire time. You need to take gloves, scarves, hat. Even if you don't use them, you need to take them. Keep your gloves and your hat in your pocket. Take a scarf. Wear a heavier coat, because trust me, you'll need it. It's cold. It gets very cold, and you're going to do a lot of walking outside, I'm sure. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.